Alright, so today I'm going to make a short videos to like tell you about the purpose of the completing the square. Yeah, actually if you like watch my video about the if actually you watch my video about the virtual classroom, I do explain many time about what is the purpose of the completing the square. And actually this one is for SPM, should be from 4 chapter 3 MF, and then it's about the maximum or minimum values of the quadratic function. Right, so yeah, from the topic itself, yeah, you basically you can guess what is the purpose of this one. Right, so okay, for completing the square, this the first one, this is a general equation. You will see something like y equals to a x minus h square plus k. But then before that, okay, just let me tell you about the purpose first. So for the completing the square itself, the first purpose is the most obvious one, is to find the maximum or minimum coordinates, or yeah, I can say maximum or minimum point. All right, okay, you how you know is it maximum or is it minimum is totally based on the values of a. Means inside the completing the square here, a is the coefficient beside the x square. However, also is the value like in front of the bracket square here. So if the a value here, if the a value here is less than 0, mean negative, you will get maximum. If the a value here is positive, maybe positive 1, positive 2, positive 3, or any positive number, means is bigger than 0, you will get minimum point. Right, so like normally how I remember this one is, okay, whenever they get positive, so you just imagine something positive happen in your life, then you will smile, right? So you see, when you're smiling, your your mouse here actually will give you the minimum value. So if negative value, do you remember? If a is negative value, something negative happened to you, you will feel very sad, right? So if you feel very sad, you see here, so your graph shape actually will be n shape, so you will get your maximum, because this is a maximum point, this is a minimum point. Right, this is how I remember last time. Right, so the second purpose of completing a square is to find the exit symmetry. Yeah, in SPM they love to ask you to write down the exit symmetry, or ask you to state the exit symmetry. Exit symmetry is very simple. Exit symmetry basically is always always take the value, take the x value of minimum or maximum. Only take the x value and add the equal sign. So okay, so just let me explain. Let's say I have a shape like this, right? And I tell you my minimum coordinates is 5, 10. Right, and then for this curve itself, yeah, the question actually ask you like ask you about the axis symmetry. Axis symmetry means you will have a line, and this line actually will passing through the x value, the x value of your minimum point or maximum point. So yeah, in SPM MF exam, they will always ask you to state the equation of axis symmetry. They will ask you state the equation of axis symmetry. So in order to state the equation of axis symmetry, I say always take the x values of maximum and minimum, right? So this equation is called x equals to 5. Right, so if I change my value a little bit, okay, so if I change my values to maybe okay, just a random one, negative 3, 7. This is my minimum coordinate. So what is my axis symmetry over here? If my x value change to negative 3, this equation itself is called x equals to negative 3. You always follow the x value, right? And then okay, beside this, another purpose is, yeah, to sketch the graph. Yeah, because in exam they love you they love to ask you to actually sketch the graph. So that's mean whenever you want to sketch the graph, first is you must know the maximum or minimum point. Second is you must know the y-intercept. So how to find the y-intercept is very easy. Always make x equals to 0 in your equation. Alright, and then of course the third thing is, whenever you sketch a graph, you have to know your a value, because you have to know the pattern or the shape of the curve. So shape of the curve over here, basically you only have two patterns, either U or N. Okay, I say U is a smiling face, positive thing, so A must be bigger than 0. So N must be sad face, so A is always less than 0. Okay, it's for you to sketch the graph, and whenever you want to sketch the graph, you will need all these three information. Alright, okay, before I go into the a bit further, I also want to mention over here about the minimum point, because they have the specific name for it. Okay, let's say this is minimum or maximum point, it doesn't matter. If minimum, for the y itself, for the y values, the 7 here, they actually will call it minimum value. So whenever the question asks about minimum value or maximum value, means they're asking for the y value only, not x value. So if asked about minimum value, you never write -3 or -3 7. You only write 7 only if they ask about value. Okay, whenever you see minimum or maximum value, means the question actually mentioned about the y value of your minimum coordinate or maximum. Right, how about x? For x itself, they will give you something like quite long. They will say something like corresponding values of x. They will say something like corresponding value of x. So if you see something like corresponding values of x, means they want the x value. Alright, and if the question asks you about axis symmetry, you just follow the x value. Alright, so okay, this is the purpose of doing completing the square. However, let me just tell you a little bit more about completing the square, because I prefer to show you the example and use the example to actually make you understand better. Alright, so let's say I have this information. Let's say I have this information. Okay, let's say this is my x value and this is my y value. Alright, so okay, for your minimum coordinate over here, from the general equation here, this one is called h and the second one is called k. So I can easily substitute into my equation, become y equals to a x minus -3, because -3 itself is h, and then bracket square plus 7. So my equation basically will be a x plus 3 square plus 7. Okay, and then you will ask about what is my a value here. I do not know what is my a value, but then the exam always will ask you about the a value, because there's no way you can find an a value. But then the question will be a bit tricky. They will ask you to find the range of a. If the question asks you to find the range of a, means what? I know smiling face. Smiling face mean a will be always positive, so I will say the range of a is bigger than 0. So you do not need to know the exact values of what is a. I mean, no need to know the exact a equals to what number. Alright, so the question will only ask you to find the range values of a. Then that mean a is bigger than 0. If the curve is look like n, then a will less than 0. Simple enough. Alright, so now if we go reversely, and I erase the thing here. Okay, from this equation, I asked you about the minimum point. So how do we take the minimum point? Minimum point we have x and y, correct or not? Okay, so if I want to take the x value, I take inside the bracket. Do you see a bracket square here? They will always opposite symbol with the number beside the x here. This is x plus 3, right? I say opposite symbol mean they are different sign. If this is positive 3, you get negative 3 here. This is how we take the x value. And the y value is very simple. You will find out the only constant value here, which is 7. So it will be 7. This one will be my minimum point. Okay, it can be minimum or maximum point if I didn't tell you what's the a value. Alright, so let me just make this equation a little bit more interesting, because I just want to make sure you understand about the equation. Then only I teach you about how to do completing the square. Right, so let's say I have y equals to 7 minus 3 x minus 5 square. Okay, first, from this equation itself, I'm asking you, will you get minimum or maximum value? So first is, I say minimum and maximum is always depend on a. So in this case, a is always the value beside the bracket square. Okay, so in this case, a will be beside the bracket square, which is negative 3. So if a is negative 3, we know a basically less than 0, because negative value. So if less than 0, it will be negative, it will be set face. So you will get maximum. So first is, from this equation itself, I know my shape of the curve will be n. Okay, then my second question. Okay, if I know this is my okay, the curve will give me the maximum point, and what is my maximum coordinates? Okay, so because of the h and k, and because this formula, you find out something very weird is, this is negative sign. This one always be negative sign for the general equation. So that means you always need to make sure this is negative sign. And then just now I says how you take the x value and y value. They are always opposite symbol. If I mean opposite sign. If this is negative 5, your x value will be positive 5. X value is always take from the bracket here. And the y value is very simple. It's only constant number here, which is 7. So my maximum coordinate is 5, 7. So I know this is 5 and 7. Okay, so you just remember, because I just purposely actually move the whole thing to the back here, because I want you to understand the equation no matter how they change the pattern of the questions. Alright, and then some students ask me why this one will be 5. Yeah, normally how I do is something like, inside the bracket I got x minus 5, right? I will do something like x minus 5 will equals to 0. Then x will equals to 5. Alright, but then if you want like more directly ones, so you just remember their opposite sign always. Alright, then if I want to sketch the graph, I want to sketch the graph. So just now I say we need to know the shape, we need to have the maximum or minimum coordinates, and what else do we need? We need to know my y-intercept. Okay, I want to find my y-intercept. How do we find the y-intercept? We just max x equals to 0. Okay, so I make x equals to 0, that means I substitute 0 into my equation. Alright, x so it will be y equals to 7 minus 3, 0 minus 5 square. So basically y will equals to 7 minus 3, this is 25. So yeah, it will be such a weird number. I mean like 7 minus 75, it will be negative 7 minus 65. What's wrong with me? So will be 5, 8. This is not 65, this is 75. So it will be 60, 60, 60, 60, 68. Am I correct? Okay. It will be negative 68. Yep, negative 68 plus 7. Yeah, should be correct. Right, so okay, so it means what? If I get my y value, I know this is y-intercept, correct or not? So y-intercept is mean this curve will passing through the y-intercept over here and negative 68. So my 0 is somewhere here maybe. So this is my x, this is my y, and this one will be my curve. So do you see? My curve is N shape, and then my y-intercept will passing through the negative 68, and my maximum coordinate is 5 and 7. Alright, so this is how we sketch the graph. Okay, so I hope you really can understand this. Okay, before I end this video, let me just teach you again about how to do the completing the square, because a lot of students still can't do it. So if I want to do the completing the square, okay, let me make this completing the square even more interesting a bit. I randomly give you an equation. Okay, so let's say I give you an equation, something like y equals to maybe x squared minus bx plus 5. Okay, this is just a random one. And then I tell you that the maximum coordinates is, this one is not maximum. How I know? Because the value beside the x squared is positive 1, means this is minimum value. Alright, so the minimum maybe I just randomly give you is 5. No, I just randomly 3 and 6. Okay, this is just the random one. And then I ask you to find the values of b. Okay, this question is just spontaneous. I hope these questions do not have any problem. Okay, so first I will do the completing the square. Because this is unknown, so it will be a little bit hard to do a completing the square. Okay, so first thing is I will copy the first two terms, x squared and negative bx. And then the next things happen here is plus 5 I will write here. Because in mathematics, when we add something in, we have to make sure we minus back the same thing. So I will add something square, and then I minus back the same thing. Then my equation is still doesn't change, because whenever I add something in, I minus back the same thing. Okay, but then what is the something here? It's always is the coefficient, means the value beside the x power 1. Always the value beside the x power 1 divided by 2. So value beside the x power 1 over here is negative b. So it will be negative b over 2. This will be negative b over 2. Alright, then the next thing I do is I will combine the first three term here. So if I want to combine the first three term over here, so what I will do is I will do a bracket square. Because after they combine, I will get something a bracket square. Then what value I should put inside? Okay, from this three term here, only the first and third term have the square, correct or not? So what you need to do is you just copy them without the square. Without the square. So what I will write is I will write x minus b over 2. Alright, because this one, if you expand this one, if you expand this bracket, you will exactly get back the three term here. Okay, you can try it out by yourself. And I will continue here. Then this one will be minus b squared over 4 plus 5. Alright, so from here, I already done my completing the square. Okay, even you didn't see a here, if you didn't see the a here, actually means you have a positive 1 here. So a is 1. 1 is always bigger than 0. So this one will give you minimum coordinates. Alright, so that's why just now I tell you the minimum. Okay, now I will need to use the 3 and 6. So you will need to know how to use the 3 and 6. I say they're always opposite symbol for the x value. 3, right? So this is negative b over 2. So it will be positive b over 2 equals to 3. So b will equals to 6. Alright, then I find out I actually give you something wrong. So normally, for this one, they will say this is k. So we'll find b and k. Yeah. So after you know the b value already, you know the k itself. The k itself is equals to whatever things over here. Means whatever thing outside the bracket. Okay, so because this one actually we call it constant value. Even you see unknown here, but then it's still the constant value. So I will say k equals to negative b squared over 4 plus 5. And I just got my b. B is 6. So it will be negative 6 squared will be minus 36 over 4 plus 5. So which is negative 9 plus 5, which is negative 4. So the value of k equals to negative 4. Alright, So completing the square is always the same, no matter, yeah, you have this one is unknown or not unknown. Right, so before I end this video, I just give you one more example about completing the square, because I just really hope this video can make you fully understand about the completing a square, because I find out completing a square is one of the easier topic, but then a lot of students will lose mark because they find this topic is very difficult. Okay, just like, okay, one more completing a square. So let's say I have y equals to a random one, okay, 2x squared, a random one maybe plus 6x, plus 11. This one do negative is more interesting. Right, so the first one is, I know the value beside the x squared here is negative. This one actually is the same a also. So my a will be less than 0. Where my less than 0, because it's negative, so my graph will be maximum. So it is maximum, I know I will get n shape. Alright, this is some information you should straight away get from the equation itself. Alright, then I want to do a completing a square. Completing a square, whenever you do, you have to make sure your x coefficient of x squared, mean the number beside the x squared over here is always positive 1. You cannot be negative 2. So what I will do over here is I will factorize out negative 2 from first two term only. So I factorize out negative 2 from first two term. This one I factorize out the negative 2. I will actually get x squared, positive x, 1x squared. This one I factorize out the negative 2. I will get negative 3x plus 11. Okay, then only I follow back the step I did just now. Okay, so I copy the first two term, which is x squared minus 3x. And then in math, I say whenever you plus something square, you have to minus back something square. Then only you close the bracket, plus 11, because 11 is outside the bracket. Okay, and then I say what is something here? Something here is always the value beside your x divided by 2. The value beside your x, mean the number beside your x, divided by 2. This is negative 3, isn't it? So you get negative 3 over 2. This is negative 3 over 2. Alright, then only I say the next step is you combine the first 3 term in front here. So you get negative 2. The first 3 term will change into something bracket square. So then only you do this one. This one is minus 3 square, negative 3 square is 9 over 4, close bracket, plus 11. The close bracket here is very important. I explain later. So what should I write inside the bracket here? I say in the first 3 term here, only first term and third term you see the square here. Write them down without the square. That's why I call x minus 3 over 2. Okay. Then we're not yet done, because we haven't solved the bracket here. We have to multiply the negative 2 into here, first one and second one. Alright, whenever I say multiple negative 2, it doesn't means, maybe I change back the white color. It doesn't means you multiply negative 2 into the bracket, because this is power 2, negative 2 is power 1. You cannot multiply into it, become negative 2x plus 3. You cannot do it. So whenever I say multiples negative 2 for the first one, that means you write like this, negative 2 x minus 3 over 2 square. You just leave it outside. And then why I say bracket is so important, because you will need to multiply negative 2 for the 9 over 4 also, because a lot of students will close the bracket here. Whenever they close the bracket here, they will leave out the 9 over 4 to multiply the negative 2. Then they will got the whole answer wrong. So negative 2 multiple this one, you will get positive 9 over 2. Because multiple in just means 2 and 4 you simplify. Alright, negative get positive. Then only a plus 11. So my one last step is I use the 9 over 2 plus 11. Then I just solve it out. So I will get something like this. 11, I want to change them in the same denominator. This one basically is mean 22 over 2. Correct or not? Means you this over 1, right? Times 2 times 2. So 22 plus 9 will be 31. So it plus 31 over 2. Alright, then only this is the final equation of completing the square. Alright, so from the final equation here, First thing is I will need to know what is my maximum coordinates. So my maximum coordinates will be maximum, because this is -2. Alright, my maximum coordinate, I set x value, take inside the bracket and opposite sign. This is -3/2, take +3/2. Alright, and then my y value is just this one, so it will be 31/2. Okay, so I just sketch this, sketch the graph faster, because we know if it's maximum and we know the shape is like this. We want to find the y-intercept. Just now I said if you want to find the y-intercept, always make x equals to 0 for y-intercept. Correct or not? Yeah. And then a lot of students, they love to substitute the x equals to 0 into this equation. Please don't do this. If you have this equation, obviously substitute x equal to 0 into this equation is much more faster, because x equals 0, that means 0, 0, 11. So y will equals to 11. Alright, so if I have all this information, then I can sketch my curve easily. So I have my minimum here. So 31/2, okay, this is something like 15 point something. Okay, so yeah, I just like sketch like this. It doesn't matter. So this one will be 3/2. This is 31/2, and my y-intercept will be 11. And this is x, this is y, this is 0. Alright, you just make sure it's cut the y-axis in the right value, and then you always need to make sure that your y over here is 15.5. Okay, 15.5, then yeah, it makes sense. 15.5 is higher than 11. Alright, normally sketch the graph over here. The question will give you 3 marks. Okay, they will give you three marks for it. If the question gives you 4 marks, whenever you want to sketch the graph, so maybe you can find the x-intercept also. So it means you need to make y equals to 0, and then you factorize your equation. You should get 2 values of x. But then normally, most of the time when I check the marking scheme, they only want the y-intercept and the maximum value. So just make sure you sketch it nicely. You can easily get full mark for this topic. Okay, I think this video is quite long already. Anyways, I do really hope you can understand about what I'm trying to explain. Yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching.